Still kind of prepping for the live that I'm trying to do where I do real-time making stained glass. And I thought, because I still have so much cutting to do and a little bit of soldering, that I would come live and kind of just cut. Don't know if I will chat a lot. I'm just gonna try and pull up my screen to make sure that I can see any comments that are coming through. I'm also doing a vertical instead of the horizontal today. A vertical stream instead of the horizontal today. Might have to give it a minute to pull up on there, but I'm just gonna go through and cut. I did a lot of the flowers on the last live that I did, and I get a lot of questions about why I space my patterns out so much, and so I decided it was time to start practicing like other people do. Some of these turned out when I did it last time, and some of them definitely did not. I had a lot of broken glass. Okay, the comments are up if anybody does want to chime in or has any questions or anything, but I'm just going to try it. It might work, it might not. We're just going to see what happens today. But I'm going to cut some of these out and see how long. I just realized I don't have my glass cutter, my little tool. So let me find that. And then if all goes well, I do have some soldering that I need to do. And we're just gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna try and be on the screen as best I can, because like I said, this isn't my normal. I normally do it horizontally, but we'll see. I was a little bit too close there. These pieces are by far the most difficult in this pattern. I broke quite a few of those as well, so we're just gonna see what happens. Still should be okay. Hi Eddie, thanks for joining. This one should still be okay once I go to grind it, because I had so much excess over there. But when I go to grind it, I'll find out if I need to redo it or not. I've been taking all of the tips that people have given me online, because I'm a beginner at learning how to make stained glass. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So there's always a possibility there will be just some epic fails on here. Normally I would cut another slice off, but I'm just gonna try this. I am going to be doing a live where I do like a tutorial from start to finish, and in order to do that I kind of have to have some prep work done. So I'm going to be making, right now I'm just cutting out butterflies to kind of prep for that, and these are actually going to be little tulips. Let's see. So this is the one that I'm currently cutting, and then I also have some butterflies I'm going to do next. Thanks for joining, by the way. I'm a beginner trying to teach myself how to make it, so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That one worked, thankfully. And I do like to keep this really clean because I use the cork board to cut on, which means that these little shards get really stuck on there. If you do use the cork board, I highly recommend wiping it off as often as possible. This is the one I'm definitely most nervous about because I generally do not cut like this at all. So we're just gonna try it. I was really hoping that would. I knew that would happen because of the way I was holding it with the pressure. So that's kind of why I personally stick to doing it where they're separate, because I'm not very good at all of the techniques yet. So I do have another one that's already cut out, or already traced on there. And I have plenty of them. These are kind of just extras because I knew I'd run into issues with it. I would love if just one of those worked for me while I was on here, but maybe not today. So you can see that I have quite a bit of grinding to do on some of these pieces, which I'm trying to get better at not doing that. And I've learned a couple of things about why that's happening, including this oil-based marker kind of bleeds a lot, and I have trouble lining up where I'm supposed to cut at. So I do know I need to get a fine tip one. I also know that when I try new techniques, I struggle a lot, so I'm just kind of sticking to what generally works for me. The entire internet has told me that this tapping method works so perfectly. Some people say to do it this way, but you can't really see where you're tapping. So, phew, a little nervous about that one. I might have to recut that one. I'm not sure how close it's going to be to the edge of my piece with the line there, so when I go to grind, I'll find out and may end up recutting this one. But I'm hoping a lot of these just work. So this one I'm going to recut because it snapped right at the end there, which is really hard to see when you're on the camera. When I started my stained glass journey, I didn't get the correct running pliers. At no fault to my own, it was the wrong listing. Like they had updated it incorrectly. It was pulled, it was the whole thing. And so I'm still very new to using running pliers and there's still a bit of a learning curve with it. As I try to kind of navigate through it. You can probably hear when I get to the end, I'm still struggling with stopping right before it. I'm just going to clean this off really quick from all these shards. Because if you don't, you will absolutely get little cuts all over your hands. So I don't know if you can see. Actually, this might be okay. The glass chipped inwards on this angle, and it's really hard to see first because it's clear, but also on the camera. And it's gonna make it so the piece ends here instead of over here. When I go to grind it or smooth it out, it's gonna be missing that little incline or that little indent there. Hi Bran, thanks for joining. So I am just debating if I want to try to recut this one or hope for the best. I'm just kind of gonna see. We should be okay with it. So I'm gonna keep going. And hope that doesn't crack anymore. Because sometimes these textured glasses, I don't know if you can see or not, and the clear especially, very difficult to cut. They're very fragile. Because of that little, I'm gonna have to recut this one, I think. I don't know how loud that is. I hope it's not too loud. I just have a feeling this is just gonna completely shatter on me. Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen. Because of all the fractures down here, I think that just completely wasn't gonna work. So I'm gonna redo it. I have another one traced already, so hopefully that won't be too boring to watch. But I do want to clean up all these shards again. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Especially, it's hard to see, you know, all the, with the glares and all of that, but there's these little textures on the back. And I'm finding that this glass specifically is just not very easy to cut, but also this curve is kind of impossible. Not impossible, very difficult. So one thing about going live is I can't edit out all of the mistakes or kind of just highlight the fails, but it's either going to work or it's not going to work today. Thank you. Yeah, I'm working on a, this is prep work so that I can do a live where I show the whole process of it or most of it. It's kind of I don't know if you ever watched or watch cooking shows where they cook it or they make it, put in the oven, and it's like magically done. So it's going to be similar. So I'm trying to prep the things because there's certain items or certain processes that I can't show, like washing it, or because I just don't have a setup for it. So I want to make sure I have all of the steps kind of ready to go. Hi, Sue. How's your new job going? Then did you see that I watched the movie finally? Thank you. What time do you think I should do it at? I'm in Central Standard Time. I did a poll on my page. I thought evening would be best. Usually there's definitely not this many people at this time of day. I don't know if this one's gonna work or not. See, like this glass should have, I think it's just too dense. And I just know it's gonna be another nightmare. And that'll work too if it does it. So it kind of cracked going inward again, but I think it's close enough to that line that when I go to grind, it's gonna be okay as long as this piece doesn't shatter on me. So there's something with this glass that it's just not making a smooth crack in it. After 4, yeah, I'm thinking maybe like a 6 p.m., 7 p.m. It's about to get really, really hot. Even today is brutal. And so I just don't know what time I should do it at because I'm outside doing it. That's how it's supposed to go. I commented back and told you I did like it. I actually liked it better than I thought I was going to. Also, I'm really glad your job's going well. I really liked the horse, when the horse turned sides. Maximus, was that his name? So that was for a little tulip design, which is this one here. And so you can kind of see I have quite a bit of grinding to do on these, but I'm okay with that. These are very hard cuts for a beginner. I don't know if just for everybody or just for me or what, but as a beginner, these were really difficult cuts to make on certain ones, so I'm gonna take it as a win if all I have to do is grinding on it. So this is gonna be one of the, because they're so small, when I do the live, I don't know how quick it's gonna go or how slow it's gonna go. I'm gonna do step-by-step cutting, tracing, cutting, soldering, foiling, everything step-by-step, telling all of the details of it. But I just don't know if it's gonna go smooth or what's gonna happen. So I wanna have quite a few of them. And I also wanna do a second pattern, which is gonna be, thank you, Brand, the butterfly. And I'm gonna do these on garden steaks. And I'm very excited to try them. I don't know how well it's gonna work, but we're gonna do it. Garden stakes have been very easy to work with, so I'm excited for it. But these are just butterfly wings, I guess. And they should be fairly easy. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm just gonna do it. And I have really weird colors on some of them, and I'm gonna end up giving them to my niece, who is 4, I think she is. She's gonna love them, so I'm not too concerned about it. I wanted to use up some of my scrap pieces. Thank you, Sue. Thanks for chiming in. Yeah, I did genuinely like it. I was surprised by that. Also, is that Mandy Moore's voice? I forgot to ask or look it up. And you can see that my curves are definitely still rough. I've been trying to do the tapping method, but as you saw in the last one, I can't quite get it down yet. So instead of risking it cracking in the wrong spot, I would rather just have to grind. Thank you, Bran. Hopefully you're able to catch when I do the like full step one. Thank you so much for chiming in. I also figured this would give me a lot of good practice on curves, because obviously, as you can see, I'm struggling a bit with them, which is fine. I wasn't sure where I wanted to go with that one. That was not a good decision. I think I might switch to some soldering just to give it a little bit of a break. I noticed that when I cut for an extensive period of time, I mean, it's only been 30 minutes, but I start to get a little bit sloppy, like my hands just... So I have a couple of small pieces to solder. You can see that a little bit of grinding to do. So I'm going to switch to soldering a piece, and then I do have some more cutting to do as well. But I just have these two small pieces, and I thought I could break it up a little and see how this goes. I actually just did my first copper foil overlay. So I learned some stuff. I mean, it's not the cleanest, it's not the neatest. I tried doing it where I didn't use that E600 glue on there, and it did not work at all, like at all. It just peeled right up. So I retried it today using a separate piece of glass, soldered it, tinned it, I guess technically, peeled it up, and then I glued it with that E600. So it says it takes 24 hours to cure. So after it's cured, I'll add that patina on there, although I kind of do like the silver. I don't think it's gonna shine up quite as well. So I'm gonna match it with the black, and I'm pretty happy that that turned out. And then they just have to be waxed, and they're good to go. I had quite a few issues with my last one of this. You can see small pieces are not my best job. And then I'll add hooks right here. I don't know if you can see. So this is the one that I did. And some of my copper foiling was just, it's the copper foil that I'm using. I know what the problem is, but I have it. I kind of want to use it. I think it's just a terrible idea now, so I'm gonna go get new ones. But I ran into quite a bit of issues with it peeling up and all these sorts of things, but this is what it'll look like when it's done. And I'm just raising the temperature on my actual soldering iron. I have a Weller. I do need to get the Hacko soldering iron, but, and I added flux in here earlier, so I'm not gonna add new flux because it's fresh. But using a Weller is a little bit different. Than using the Hacko. And I think a lot of it is the tip that I use as well. I don't have a wedge tip. I can't find one that fits on this one. I'm just looking for my tape. Even though I don't think I really have to tape this one, but I don't want to risk it. metal pieces are a lot easier. You don't have to be as careful when flipping them or anything. And normally you would wear, not normally, you would wear a heat-resistant glove when working with holding your piece. I just do this part during this because all I'm touching is the lead. It's just an added protection, layer of protection. But I don't need it quite yet. I will eventually put it on. And this is just tip tinner because I'm going to do a beaded edge on it. Well, in general, you should tin your tip quite often. It kind of, and you can see how much it smokes. You do not want to breathe that in. You can see that it's being blown away from me. I'm outside with all of the windows open and the garage door. And this is flux. If this was sitting out all day or all night, I would not have just reused it. But I just poured some in prior to coming on live. So do you see how it's kind of pulling in one direction? There's too much solder on that point. I have to lower my temperature anyway to do the tinning of it. So I'm just going to pull it away and it's going to get rid of that little glob. So this is called tinning. And in theory, when I go to do my beaded edge, it should kind of pool over the side to make this really nice, smooth line. I still have not figured out how to do that, and I think that it's the soldering iron that I'm using, or the tip. Because there's not really a reason for it otherwise. But that's that sort of beveled edge on the front of it, because the actual solder is supposed to pool over on it on its own naturally, and you'll have too much otherwise. And on this side, I'm going to start by tinning because my soldering iron is already low. Too much flux on there. I can see it. It's already on that temperature, so I'm going to start by tinning. And I don't know the purpose that people normally don't do that, but I don't really see it when I see other people making stained glass. Now I'm going to raise the temperature so I can do the actual solder lines. The reason that you lower it is because, well, I don't know if it's the copper foil I use or if everybody does it, but if you're just tinning it, the copper foil adhesive will kind of get ripped up. And if it's too low when you're doing your actual solder lines, you'll get a bunch of sort of waves and ripples in it. You want it to be about 700 Fahrenheit from what I'm gathering. That seems to be the perfect temperature to do the actual solder line. And even though it's not like super smooth, I will go back at the end and fix it, but I'm gonna put on my heat resistant glove, turn my temperature down, and I'm gonna tin or make a beaded edge around it, and then I'll go back and kind of smooth everything out. Because when you're doing your beaded edge, a lot of the solder is gonna fall over. You're kind of fighting or working with gravity. So I lower it to 480 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is the heat resistant glove that most people wear probably all the time while they're making it. But I only really do that when I'm going to be working, when I have to hold it. This is going to be the hardest part to solder, so I'm hoping it's not too messy when I first start, but we'll see. And a lot of people will also have like jigs to hold your piece so that you're not trying to figure out which way to hold it. I'm just not that advanced in my journey. And if you move too quickly, after you solder, your bead's going to go in the direction that you're holding it. So these edges are a little bit more difficult to figure out when you don't have a jig. Because I don't have that wedge tip, I can't do the tapping method, which is something to note if you do have like a weller that you can't get the wedge tip for. So my lines are never going to be as smooth as I want them to be until I get the Hackle soldering iron. So now I have to kind of go over and fix. The problem with this part is you kind of have to adjust your temperature as you go. Because at 480, if I do a baseline, it's going to give me a little bit of a, will usually give me a little bit of a ripple effect that I don't want. But if I go hotter, my solder will go all over the place. So I'm going to raise it a little bit. Try to find that happy medium. So I don't know if you can see on the screen how much smoother that was versus that other lower temperature. Let it cool for a second. And that bubbling means there's too much flux in that area. Because we're here, we're doing this, I'm gonna add the hooks on here because the next step would be for me to wash all the flux off, shine it up a little bit, and then patina it. But I want to add hooks on here, right here and here. So this is the back side. So I'm just gonna do it. Adding hooks is one of the easiest things that I've learned in making stained glass. Sometimes I'm really good at it and sometimes my hands are a little bit iffy. So basically, you have your copper foil. Some people will get tinned copper foil, pre-tinned copper foil. I personally don't have it. I don't mind tinning it myself, not a big deal. Then you want to find something round. Pens are a little bit too thick. This one is still too thick for smaller pieces, but it's the only thing that I've found that I have that I can use. You take your copper foil, or your copper wire, you kind of wrap it around, and you want it as pulled as close as you can because it's going to round it out for you. And then kind of cross them over. And when you get to a point where they're a little bit crossed over, you just start twisting. Use your tool advantage. This one's going to be a little wonky, but